Chapter 7, Layering, putting our paint on in 1, 2, 3 layers. The purpose? Well, to get a certain degree of flatness because all the edges will be sharp. And also I'll get mixtures by overlay rather than trying to make direct applications. And I'll make all this on dry paper. On my board I have a sketch that I made in a boatyard just a couple of weeks ago of an old boat against a shack. However, as you can see, it's not a value drawing. So using a light table or a window, I made the value drawing with a soft pencil, which is more important information than a line drawing. Line drawings don't make paintings. These kind of scribbled kind of things are what flesh out the painting. And then I'll produce what is called my mother color. My mother color will be made over here on my palette, and I'm going to use a depression in my lid to mix up a batch of mother color, and that will be cobalt blue into this, well, that's all right. I used a little cerulean there. I dipped into the one that I wasn't, really aiming for, but that's all right. It doesn't matter. This is all arbitrary. In other words, whatever the mother wash color is here, I'll be using that pretty much as my color dominance in my painting. And maybe I'll put just a touch of raw sienna in that just to make it a little bit less ordinary. And I'll be painting now from this puddle on my paper. And I'll tilt my paper maybe just a bit more temporarily by putting my sponge here. Having the sponge on the top edge gives me a little more slant. And now if gravity will help me a little bit here. As I go across the top, I'll just paint everywhere that's not meant to be white. I put the mother wash. And I move down the painting. Maybe it's just a little too dark. I add a little water. And I make sure a bead forms on the bottom. See, gravity forms a bead on the bottom. I work horizontally. I'll allow that white boat in here to stay, and I paint around my boat. So let's get down toward the boat shapes. And as long as you maintain a bead at the bottom, like I'm doing here, it will not form an edge. You can keep your color moving continuously. I'm painting around my boats, and I may run a little bit shy. Here, I should have left some more whites on my staircase over here, but this will be fine. And when I'm done, I should have a background mother wash here, which is not too streaky. Okay, we've just about reached bottom. So we reached bottom. Now, maybe there's no reason to paint around this. I'll just include it. Now I'll hit this with my dryer. So now that my paper is drier, I can add my next. I'm going to put aside my lid from my palette now because I no longer need the mother wash. And I'm going to maybe make washes now which are, well, for instance, maybe I ought to do something with the beach next. Maybe I'll do something that's just run a wash of pink across the beach. And that'll give a kind of a violet look to it, probably. Is that a little bit too much? Well, maybe, and maybe not. I'm going to go with it anyway. I'm going to also go, beyond the boundaries here and use it for other shapes as well. Maybe I can use it for my roof up here to make it separate from the sky, and maybe I'll run it through that sailboat that's inside the boathouse. So you see what I'm doing here, I'm trying to make my washes go beyond their immediate boundaries in almost all cases, seeing how far I can take a wash, and that pulls my areas together. It gives me, a certain amount of togetherness, because, and let's do the back of the boat as a pink too. Now there, I've taken there's most of the beach is now pink, and now I have another drying period. So I'll hit that again with the dryer. Now that may be dry enough. I think so. So now I go for a darker mixture of color. Here's blue, And let's add some green to that. And we'll use that for, let's try that for the, let's go with this for most of the, including the shadow shapes. I'll see using this big brush if I can, get in with the corners of this big brush and do some of the little shapes as well, because it takes time, doesn't it, to come up and switch brushes. And so I want to get up here as well with using always, fluid paint, flat, quite flat, no gradations, no lucky lost edges, just silhouette shapes. And we'll allow that roof to stay that pink value, and we'll come down toward the boat. Now you see how the silhouette area shows, and we'll do this and do this, and now we'll go in some of the smaller areas with darker paint. Maybe I should give this just a quick dry so that I don't get soft edges. I don't want soft edges this time.